How to become smarter, a scientific approach without magic. Imagine that. You look at successful people and think they were born with some kind of special brain, that they have a last-generation processor inside their skull, and you have a calculator from the 90s. Spoiler alert, this is complete nonsense. Intelligence is not a fixed quantity that you were given at birth as a serial number. It's a muscle that can be pumped. But here's the problem. 95% of people pump it with about the same efficiency as they try to pump up their abs while lying on the couch and thinking about the gym. The most fun part, most people believe that to develop intelligence, you need to solve Sudoku, learn languages, and read smart books. Well, yes, and you can also look at a photograph of Einstein 3 times a day and hope that his genius will be transmitted through his gaze. Reality is much more interesting and, surprisingly, simpler. I've studied all the research so you don't have to. Meet 6 scientifically proven ways to boost your brain that really work. First, the stupid questions method. Here's the unpleasant truth. Most people are afraid to look like idiots, so they pretend to understand everything. They're sitting in a meeting, nodding their heads like Chinese dummies, and there's an emptiness and an echo in their head. It's called smart-looking syndrome, and it kills your intelligence more slowly but more effectively than watching reality TV every day. Smart people ask stupid questions. Why is the sky blue? How exactly does blockchain work? What does synergy mean? Most people can't answer basic questions because they're used to using terms they don't understand themselves. It's like speaking in a foreign language, knowing only swear words and the phrase, "Where's the toilet?" Every time you ask a question, your brain starts an active search mode. He does not just passively absorb information, he begins to analyze it, connect it, embed it into the existing knowledge system. The result? You don't just learn the fact, you understand the system. Stop pretending to understand. Start asking questions like an annoying 5-year-old, and your IQ will start rising faster than gasoline prices. Second, meta-training. Learn to learn, not just learn. Here's the paradox. People spend years studying mathematics, history, and biology, but no one teaches them the most important skill: how to study effectively. It's like buying an expensive car and not knowing what a steering wheel is. Most people learn by their read and forget method. They opened the book, scanned it, closed it, and felt smarter. In fact, there's as much information left in my head as there is water in a colander. Smart people study the learning process. They know that repeating at intervals works better than marathon cramming, that active application of knowledge is more important than passive reading, that mistakes are not a failure, but the best way to remember. Spend a week not learning a new subject, but learning how your brain best processes information. This is an investment that will pay off 1,000 times. Draw diagrams. Do you remember better by ear? Say it out loud. Learn your cognitive skills, and learning will turn from torture into a game where you know the cheats. The third, the environment is smarter than you, or you will remain the smartest fool. There's such a thing. You always become the arithmetic average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If your friends are only discussing football, beer, and the new episode of the series, guess what you'll be thinking? That's right, about football, beer, and TV series. This is not snobbery. This is neuroscience. Your brain is a lazy creature. He doesn't want to strain himself for no reason. But when you're surrounded by people who talk about quantum physics, Kant's philosophy, or venture capital strategies, your brain panics. Damn, I look stupid. I need to get fit. And it starts working. The fastest way to get stupid is to become the smartest person in the room, because you have no one to grow up with. You're like a boxer who trains only with a pair. Find an environment where you feel a little more stupid than the rest. Is it uncomfortable? Great. Discomfort is a sign of growth. Join clubs, attend lectures, find mentors, and read expert forums. The main thing is to get out of the comfort zone where you are a star. Become a student in the world of masters, and your intelligence will soar. Fourth, read not for show, but for connections. Most people read books as they consume content on TikTok, quickly, superficially, without stopping. I read it, ticked it, and felt like an intellectual. After a month, you can't even remember the name. Congratulations, you've turned reading into pointless procrastination under the guise of self-development. Smart people read slowly and connect. Each new idea is not an isolated fact, but a piece of a puzzle. They stop and think, how does this relate to what I already know? They write down thoughts, argue with the author in their minds, and apply concepts to their lives. Here's a simple trick. After each chapter, close the book and tell yourself the main ideas out loud in your own words. Can't you? So they didn't understand. Reread it. Then connect these ideas with something from your experience or another book. Create a mental map of knowledge where everything is intertwined. The result? Instead of a library of dead facts, you have a living, breathing system of interconnected ideas in your head. This is true intelligence, not the number of books read, but the quality of connections between ideas. Fifth, physical education is more important for the brain than intellectual games. Here's the irony. While everyone is solving Sudoku and playing chess, thinking that they are pumping their intelligence, the real brain upgrade is taking place in the gym. Yes, you heard right. Your brain does not grow from crosswords, but from a banal run. Why? Exercise triggers the production of neurotrophic factor in the brain, a protein that acts as a fertilizer for neurons, literally forces the brain to create new connections in cells. Aerobic exercise is especially good. Running, swimming, cycling, just 30 minutes of moderate activity a day, and your hippocampus, responsible for memory, begins to grow by leaps and bounds. The funny thing is that people sit at a computer trying to solve an intellectual problem, banging their heads on it for hours, and then they go for a walk and the solution comes by itself. It's not magic, it's physiology. Movement accelerates blood flow, oxygenates the brain, and activates the prefrontal cortex. You want to become smarter? Get off the couch. Literally, forget about brain training apps. Their effectiveness is questionable. Better buy sneakers and start running. Your neurons will say thank you. Sixth, sleep is when the brain turns into a genius. Last but not least, while you're sleeping and thinking that nothing is happening, your brain is having a huge information processing party. It sorts memories, removes mental debris, strengthens neural connections, and solves problems. Research shows that after a good night's sleep, people solve tasks 33% more efficiently. Not because you had a rest, but because your brain was quietly working on the problem at night while you were snoring into your pillow. There is even a technique. Before going to bed, you think about a difficult problem, and in the morning you wake up with a solution. This works because the areas of the brain responsible for creativity and out-of-the-box thinking are activated during sleep. But most people sleep for 5 to 6 hours, proudly talk about how little sleep they need, and wonder why they get dumber every year. Your brain is not made of iron. He needs 7 to 9 hours to work properly. It's not laziness, it's a necessity. Do you want to become smarter tomorrow? Go to bed on time today, the easiest and most underrated way to boost intelligence. Results: how to become smarter. First, ask stupid questions. Curiosity and honest recognition of knowledge gaps develop intelligence faster than pretending to understand. Second, study the learning process. Learn to study effectively. This is more important than knowledge itself. The third, surround yourself with people smarter than you. Your intelligence grows in an environment that challenges and provokes you. Fourth, read for connections, not for show. Intelligence is not the amount of information, but the quality of connections between ideas. Fifth, keep moving. Physical activity is the most underrated way to boost your brain. Sixth, get enough sleep. The brain grows in sleep, not in the mode of chronic sleep deprivation. A bonus: the main principle is that intelligence is not a gift, but a skill.
Upgrade it every day, and in a year you won't recognize yourself. Subscribe and become smarter with us.